the Astro 30 here yet again, and welcome back to AEL. Now, there's a reason why I'm in the bathroom, and that'll become evident, and probably is evident by the title of this video. Now, this is not really related to electronics, but I find this kind of subject interesting. Now, today I'm going to talk about what's known as a residual current device, or an RCD. What these RCDs are mainly intended for are wet areas such as bathrooms, to protect the power outlet, which is just off there, and the light is plugged into, from accidental contact with the human body and water. So, for instance, someone is taking a bath and they have some electrical device plugged in, like a hairdryer, which is completely stupid, and they accidentally drop it in the bath. Now, there has been several deaths over the years in Australia, especially, from people being electrocuted in the bath for that very reason, for either things falling into the bath that are plugged into an electrical outlet, or they're using electrical devices whilst in the bath. And that is what the RCD is intended for. So let's go look at a physical RCD, and then we'll look at how it actually works. So I'm outside at the meter box at the moment, and that thing with the blue switch and the orange button that's marked Wilco is the RCD, and it has that test button, which is the orange one, and it says press to test monthly. And what that will do is that blue paddle switch should actually flip to the down position, which tests for a ground fault. And it does. And as we can see, the lamp is now off, and there is no power at all to the lamp. So the outlet is completely dead. So now we can switch it back on, and voila, the light is now back on. And that is the whole purpose of what the RCD is supposed to do. Now, let's have a look at how the RCD actually works.
So here's a look at a simplified circuit diagram of what's inside a physical RCD. Over here we have the live and neutral connections coming in from the distribution box, as well as our earth connections shown. Now, the neutral and the earth connections are physically joined together at the power distribution box via a large cable and a ground stake which is driven into the ground. So these 2 points are physically connected. Now, the principal working of this circuit is the current going out to the load must equal the current returning from the load. So the current going out on the live must equal the same amount of current that's being returned on the neutral. So over here at the load, which is my lamp in the bathroom currently, we can see this line marked here that says leakage current. Now, that's extra current that's going to be introduced into the return circuit because it's going to earth. And remember, neutral and earth are physically connected. So that's extra current that's now going to be returning, or residual current that's going to be returning, which is greater than the current going out to the load. So say that leakage current is the live wire is now in contact with something that has a certain amount of resistance, such as the human body, is now leaking down to earth. The live wire is going through this toroid, and it's measuring through this sensing coil the current going out plus the current going in, which is picked up by this sensor circuit. And if it detects that the current flowing back into the circuit via the neutral is higher than the current going out through the live, then this switch will open. And this is the blue paddle switch, which is represented on the physical RCD in my meter box. And we'll notice this test switch here and resistor in series with live and neutral. Well, it's the same as the residual current across here. And this resistor represents the current that's leaking through, say, the human body. And because neutral and earth are directly connected, that's the reason why the test switch and resistor are in series with live and neutral. And pressing this switch, which is the orange switch on my RCD, to test it, will introduce a larger return current back into the neutral than what's going out through the live. The sensing coil will pick it up, the sensing circuit will detect this, and the blue paddle switch will open. disconnecting the load, removing the leakage current to earth. And that is probably the best way I can describe how this circuit works.
So to demonstrate that the neutral and the earth pins of a power point or power outlet are directly connected together electrically, I'm going to measure with a multimeter resistance across the earth and the neutral. Now, it is plugged into a power board, but the power switch on the power board is off. And the power switch on the power board switches both active and neutral. Now, I will stress, do not try this at home unless you know exactly what you're doing. Do not go sticking random things into power outlets or power cords, such as multimeter probes, because if you get it wrong, well, you run the risk of causing damage to things, such as the multimeter. Now, I will turn the switch on and we'll watch the meter. And as we can see, there is a tiny bit of resistance there. It's moving up and down a little, but there could be a little bit of resistance across the probes as well. So I'll turn it off. And as we can see, it just goes back to open load. So just to find out what our resistance across our leads are, yeah, about the same as what we were measuring across the plug, about 0.3 of an ohm and jumping around to 0.5 of an ohm. So the leads are introducing a little bit of resistance into it. So we can see that electrically there's close to 0 ohms between neutral and earth. And that is the reason why I say do not try this test at home, because if you connect the multimeter probes with the resistance reading across earth and live, well, bad things can happen, like blowing up the multimeter and tripping the circuit breaker. And please don't use electrical devices whilst taking a bath. And it's not guaranteed that all houses actually have an RCD. That is something you would have to actually find out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big like below. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. Anyway, this is the Astro 30 as always saying, see ya, have a great day. Stay safe.